We're going to do another schema migration shortly. Before we do that, just a little note about strings. You can see inside here. Actually, let's go inside the REPL this time, just so you can see the difference between the two. So let's see EdgeDB. So you always have the option of the UI or the REPL. The REPL is always going to be somewhat faster because it's just on the command line. So you can see, there you go. It's lightning fast. I always stay inside the REPL myself. I'm always inside the CLI, but yeah, the UI is admittedly looks a lot nicer. So just a little mention here is that let's say we want to write Jonathan Harker's journal, something like that. You can see it's not going to understand what we're doing because it the string starts here and then it ends here. So what we can do is use a backslash to escape it. So there's an escape sequence which lets it ignore this this S or this apostrophe. I mean, another thing you can do, of course, is you have the option of single or double quotes, so you can do that as well. So just a small note there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we need to put and also an array. You can see they're quite simple. So this would be an array of strs or strings, and so you can let's select that as well. So there we go. Select, just paste that there, and you can see it's just going to return the what we put in. And this these brackets here, we're going to learn what those are in a bit. It's kind of interesting, but just note that these square brackets are for the arrays, and then everything so far we can see is inside these curly brackets, these braces. So yeah, we'll learn about that in a second. But first, we're going to add another type to our schema. So this next one is a city. So we've got an NPC. We would also like a city, and make the name required, of course. And then modern name is because sometimes the spelling in the book is different. So if you have Bistritz, maybe we would want to search by Bistritz because inside the game that's the spelling they'll use. But then we might want to have this this optional modern name if we bring in data that happens to call a city by its modern name, which in this case would be Bistrița in Romania. So this would not be required, but it can be added as well. So let's see. That's right. This we actually did in the last video, but yeah, let's look at this L command as well. So first, let's go into our schema again, and you can already probably get the feeling that this is pretty easy. I hope you don't care much about things like line spacing. You know, some people hate it when spacing is all weird. I actually don't care much myself, but anyway. So that is our there you go. Maybe that looks a little bit nicer. So we've got an NPC, we've got a city, and of course we have not migrated the data yet. So, or migrated the schema. So this time, by the way, /q gets you out of the REPL. Let's just clear the screen. Oh, I forgot to make it show up. I will show you once more. So if you are inside the REPL, /q takes you out. So we're back on the regular command line. So we will do EdgeDB migration create as usual, and it's going to ask us some questions, but this time instead of saying yes or no. And by the way, if you say no, then the CLI is going to try to see if it can come up with another suggestion, because sometimes what you're doing isn't always clear. Like let's say you have the name, a property called name, and then you change it to nam or like na. then it's going to guess, okay, you're probably changing the name of this property, but what you might have also meant to do is drop it and then create a new property that looks similar. So so you would say, no, I didn't create this. Yes, I dropped it. So definitely you want to pay attention to the questions, because it puts together the migration based on what you tell it to do. So let's see, did you create object type default city? Now let's say we want to say, we want to know what it's going to do if we say yes. Then you can type L, and L means list the statements. So this is basically, L means, what are you going to do if I say yes? That's what L is for. So list what you're going to do if I say yes. And so it says, okay, if you say yes, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. So I'm going to make a type default city. I'm going to make this property. I'm going to make this required property. What do you think? So then we say, okay, that looks fine. So type yes, and then we can apply the migration with EdgeDB migrate. And so we already have a few migrations down, and it's been really pretty much effortless. So that is nice. Let's see. So we did this. And by the way, there's a little note here. EdgeDB originally had the keyword property here. So it used to say required property name. So if you're looking at some other schemas made by other people, and you can actually write it. You can write required property name if you want, but it's not required. So there, inside EdgeDB, you have properties and links. Properties are owned by an object type, and then links are links to another object type. And so there's the keyword property and the keyword link, and so you might see them, but you don't, as of EdgeDB 3.0, which was, what was it, about 5 months ago, you don't need it. So this, you might see some schemas that look like this. So the current syntax, required name, and then the old syntax, you have required property name, and then it had this this skinny arrow. And this is actually not just, it's kind of interesting, it's not just to make the syntax look nicer. It's later on to enable free objects. It kind of needs this syntax so that you can later on create objects on the fly in future editions of EdgeDB. So it's kind of like a future proofing at the same time. So let's see. We already did this expression in the last video. We, if you give a required expression or a required property, it'll ask you for an expression. So we did that in the last video. Gave it a default empty string for any of the existing objects, and there we go. And then here in the book, by the way, these are some good links if you're already setting up your instance and you're already using EdgeDB for something serious. So here's some quick links to the commands, admin, CLI, and so on. And then one of the most important ones is, if you're just working on your own and you just feel like you want to start again, so you can destroy an instance, and you type EdgeDB instance destroy. -I, you enter the instance name, and then -- force, because it doesn't want to just outright destroy things right away. So you have to really let it know, make this happen, and then it'll absolutely delete the instance. But when you destroy an instance, it'll keep your schema and migration files. So destroying an instance will not touch anything inside here. It'll keep your migrations, your default. So it's just destroying the instance. It's not doing anything with the directory that you have with all of your schema and so on. So there we go. And in the next video, we're going to look at the select keyword and how to use it.